They told me I was in the wrong seat before they even asked my name. No hesitation, no confusion. Just that flat certainty people use when they've already decided who you are, and standing there in the aisle blocking my way like I was an inconvenience instead of a human being. She said it again louder this time, "You don't belong here." That was the moment I knew this flight was going to be different, not because of where it was going, but because of what it was about to reveal. I was flying out of San Mateo International that morning, heading to Zurich first-class seat 1A, the one with the wide window and extra legroom. I travel light and quiet. No suit, no flashy watch, no logo screaming money. Just a dark hoodie, clean sneakers, noise-canceling headphones around my neck. I've learned over the years that real power doesn't announce itself, it listens. And that morning, I wanted to listen. 3 hours earlier, in a glass conference room overlooking the bay, my firm had finalized the acquisition of Northvale Air. Majority stake, full operational control, effective that afternoon. No press yet, no internal memo, nothing public. I was flying under the radar on purpose. I wanted to see how the system worked when it thought no one important was watching. You know what I mean? I was settled in skimming through documents on my tablet sipping water when I heard that sound. If you've ever dealt with it, you know it instantly. That sharp, clipped tone of entitlement that doesn't ask, it declares, "Excuse me, there's been a mistake." I didn't look up at first, thought it was about luggage or something. Then she tapped the seat divider and said, "Sir, that's my seat." I looked up and there she was. Perfect hair, oversized sunglasses indoors, tailored blazer that probably cost more than my first car. Let's call her Dana. She was pointing at me like I'd spilled something. A flight attendant rushed over all smiles for her, barely glanced at me. Dana said she always sat in one. A said her husband was a top-tier member, said the system must have glitched because this gentleman clearly isn't first class. That word gentleman dripping with sarcasm. I showed my boarding pass. Calm, polite. She didn't even look. Just laughed and said, "Come on, look at him." The attendant's smile faded. Her tone changed. She asked for my ID, said they'd had issues with upgrades lately. Fraud. I handed it over without a word. Her device beeped. Green. Paid in full. Verified. Everything checked out. I could see it on her face. That flicker of doubt. And then the calculation. Loud woman with status versus quiet guy in a hoodie. She chose. She told me there was a discrepancy, that my ticket was now flagged, that I'd need to move to a seat near the back. Row 36. Economy Plus. I actually chuckled. Not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. I told her I wasn't moving and suggested she find Dana another seat. Dana gasped like I'd insulted her ancestors, said she didn't feel safe, said I was being aggressive. Aggressive. Sitting there, voice steady, hands still. That's when the threat came. "If you don't comply, we'll have to involve the captain." I told her to go ahead. I told her to think carefully. She didn't. The captain arrived like he owned the place, chest out, jaw set. Didn't ask me a single question. Went straight to Dana, apologized for the inconvenience, then turned to me and told me to gather my things. I explained. Slowly. Clearly. Told him to check the manifest. He waved it off. Said his crew said I was causing a disturbance. That was enough for him. He gave me a choice. Move to the back or get off the plane. Then he smiled and took the first option away. "Actually, I don't like your attitude. You're getting off." Called security. Right there. People were watching. Phones out. No one said a word. I stood up, smoothed my hoodie, picked up my bag. Didn't argue, didn't resist. As they walked me off, I heard whispers. Probably drunk. Probably dangerous. Typical. Yeah, that happened. Standing in the terminal watching the plane pull away from the gate, I made a call. Not to a lawyer, not to family. To the interim chairman, the man who'd signed the deal with me that morning. When I told him what happened, he went silent. Then he apologized. Said he'd fix it, rebook me. I told him not to. I told him to ground the plane. He hesitated until I reminded him who owned it now. Who had control? Me. I told him to turn it around, bring it back. And I said I wanted back on my flight. Inside that cockpit, they thought they'd won. Then the radio crackled. Mandatory return. Priority hold. Confusion turned to anger real fast. When they docked back at the gate and the door opened, the look on the captain's face when he saw me standing there with executives, legal counsel, and airport security, I'll never forget it. I walked back onto that plane like nothing had happened. The cabin was silent. Dana looked up like she'd seen a ghost. The flight attendant dropped a bottle. I walked to row 1 and stopped. "You're in my seat," I said. Calm, clear. She laughed. Nervous this time. Said I was crazy. So I explained that as of a few hours ago, I owned the airline, the plane, the seat, the champagne in her glass, and that I had a strict zero-tolerance policy for discrimination. I fired the captain first, on the spot, for cause, no severance, took his badge in front of everyone. Then the attendant. She cried, said she didn't know. I told her the truth. She was only sorry because of who I turned out to be. Dana was last. Lifetime ban. Escorted off while screaming. Her husband stayed seated, staring straight ahead. That part hurt more than anything. Watching someone choose comfort over character. By the time we landed, the video was everywhere. Millions of views. Stock surging. People arguing online. Some said I went too far. Some said not far enough. So here's my question to you. What would you have done? Would you have walked away? Would you have fought? Or would you have done exactly what I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear where you stand because stories like this aren't just about seats on a plane. They're about how we see each other and what we do when we finally realize we've been seen wrong our whole lives.